Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about how to prevent sweaty, smelly and dark armpits. I am Marcy, for those of you who are new here. For those who already subscribed, thank you so much. Those who are not yet subscribed, please subscribe and become a part of the family. I made a video recently about my shower routine and somebody was asking about the type of deodorant I use or asking about smelly or sweaty armpits, and I decided to do a video about all those things just in case it can really help somebody. I know sometimes you can minimize these things, but these are some of the things that can easily affect your confidence. These are some of the things that can easily affect how you show up, because if you feel like you're smelly, if you feel like you're sweaty, if you're not feeling comfortable, you're not going to show up as your full self. Yes, so you definitely want to tackle these things and try out different things and see what works for you. So let's get right into it. The first thing you want to do to prevent smelly armpits is to shower. Just like any other body part, it accumulates that. Remember, we put deodorant, remember it sweats, so it's bound to accumulate that at one point. So you want to make sure that you're showering regularly, and when you shower, make sure you dry the part very well, because I'll put it in a category of creases. So sometimes you may dry the rest of the body hurriedly and see whatever and you leave that part, but you don't want that area to become damp. That would give it that damp smell, in that when you add the deodorant, it's not going onto fresh skin. So you want to make sure that you dry it well, and then that's when you put on the deodorant. The second point is we literally take time when picking out perfumes. We try to make sure we get perfumes that match our body scent. Why is it that we do not take the same care with deodorants? We literally just pick out any deodorant. You want to make sure you get a deodorant that first of all suits your body scent. Sometimes certain perfumes, deodorants may not work so well with our body scents. You may put deodorant, but then like in the middle of the day, like, what? Why do I feel like I'm smelling? Why do I feel like I'm giving off, a smell like as if I didn't even put deodorant? But you have to make sure that you're choosing deodorants that suit your body scent, and you have to make sure you get deodorants that are strong enough, because some deodorants are so light in that you find you may put it on, but by midday you go to smell your armpit and it's not smelling so great. One thing about how to prevent dark armpits: make sure you're getting deodorants that are aluminum free, because it is a chemical that is usually put in deodorants, and you find that it usually makes, I wouldn't say it happens for everyone, but for most people it makes your armpits darker. So you want to make sure that you're getting deodorants that are aluminum free. We usually exfoliate our bodies, our faces, but why is it that we do not exfoliate our armpits? So it also gets, dead skin just like any other body part. So you need to make sure that you're exfoliating it. And one trick that I picked up that has really helped me, I was watching a certain YouTuber. She also does mostly self-care content in terms of showering, what to use, the tips and tricks. If I get her name, I'll link it down below. So she says when she's showering, when she comes to scrubbing the armpits, she's literally singing the ABCDs, right? And you can do, she says she normally does 2 rounds. So I implemented that trick and it really worked for me, because I used to just scrub, how you scrub the rest of the body and it's like as if you're giving it the time of day, but it's not like as if you're really going in, right? So you just scrub like this and you're done. And then I realized, like, at some point my armpits would become itchy. I realized that this deodorant, when you do not shower it off well, it builds up. It can easily cause that dark, smelly, feel. Because even though you put fresh deodorant, there's literally a layer that has been piling up, in that when you put the deodorant, it does not feel fresh. So you want to make sure at the end of the day So me, I implement that ABC. I sing up to the end, and I used to do twice. But you also don't want to overdo it because you can easily feel like as if you're hurting your skin. Yes, because I've done it before where I used to do like ABCD. I sing up to the end twice, and my armpits used to feel so sensitive when I would put like you feel like as if they're tiny ones. So you want to do it, let's say like once, right? And scrub out all that deodorant at the end of the day, right? I know this came up some time back. I think it was, I don't know if it was the Grammys or the Oscars. There's someone who went with unshaped armpits, and to each their own, right? But one thing about unshaped armpits is they sweat easily, and then that hair easily transfers the sweat to your clothes. So you want to make sure that you're shaving regularly. Sometimes people can wait for hair to grow so much before they think of shaving it, but even that little hair can easily cause you to sweat. So you want to make sure you're keeping it clean shaven. Tight clothing. Tight clothing, is it breathable, the material of the cloth? Because sometimes we just put on, forgetting that when your clothes are so tight, the sweat is going to easily transfer to your clothes. Your armpits are not going to be able to breathe well, so you need to make sure that first of all the material is breathable, and you have to make sure at least there's enough room for aeration. And you have to take notice of the weather and dress up accordingly, because there are some materials that easily make you sweat more. They produce heat, even some colors, like on a very hot day and you're putting on, let's say a black, let's say turtleneck with long arms. What do you expect? You're definitely going to sweat, because that means first of all there's not enough room for aeration, and then it's black, so it's absorbing heat. So you want to make sure on certain days, like in hot days, you're putting on clothing that just reflects the heat back, like, you know, light colors, white, the likes. And then you can keep the dark colors for the cold days, so that it can absorb the heat and keep you warm. Yes, and the material also matters too. I don't know if it happens for everybody, but when it's hot, I steer away from chiffon, silk, because there's a way those materials just make me sweat easily. I don't know what it is about them. I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but you can comment in the comment section and let me know. But me, they make me sweat, so I make sure that I'm steering clear of those. If I'm to wear them, at least I make sure there's enough room for aeration. Let's say they are open up, or there's enough room down, like for the armpits to just breathe well. The aspect of diet. This is something we minimize a lot. Definitely even me too, but what you eat is literally reflected outward. So it will show on your skin. It will show even in the scent too. Eating a lot of unhealthy foods, trust me, it's going to show. It's going to even show up in the smell. You want to make sure you're eating enough vegetables, enough fruits, enough foods that hydrate the body. You want to be eating foods that are healthy for you. Hydrate, yes, because when you hydrate, definitely it helps to cleanse the body. Now just imagine you're not taking enough water. It's the dry season. Your lips are going to be chapped, that's number one. Then there's not enough hydration. So you can imagine the scent you're going to be giving off. That's why it even actually shows up, like how much you hydrate will show through urine you pass. If you're not hydrating enough, it will give off that yellowy, you know, kind of color, and usually it will be stinky. Yes. But when you hydrate, it's usually a very light color, almost like water, but very light, and the smell is not that strong. So that's the same thing that happens to the body. That's why it even affects the type of sweat you'll be releasing. If you're not hydrating enough, your sweat is going to be so smelly. Now, there are definitely medical conditions where people sweat a lot, and I'm no medical practitioner, but if your sweating is really excessive and it's something that you've struggled with for the longest time and you've tried all these remedies but it's not really working out, the best solution would be to talk to a medical practitioner. There are procedures like Botox which you can do, decrease that sweat pads. If you feel like your sweating is not really excessive but it's still something you struggle with and you'd like to have something that prevents it from, let's say, showing on your clothes, because it can be quite embarrassing when you lift up your armpits and they're all sweaty. You can find them on Amazon. You can literally buy them. Just check online, there are different sites that sell them. So get yourself some. You can usually put them in that crease, that corner where you put where the armpit sits. So you just stick the pads there and they'll literally absorb all the sweat and it won't show on your clothes. You've seen people try out castor oil packs for different things, for different purposes, using it for skin. Oh, by the way, I'm using it on my face. You can give me feedback. Anyway, one thing about castor oil is that it cleanses. It goes deep inside the tissue. If you ever find that you have, let's say, like a pain, or you feel like there's something you're struggling with on your body, just smear castor oil. You'll feel a great difference. Anyway, so I've seen someone who actually says that they were using castor oil in their armpits. They were saying that they actually no longer use deodorant. Yes, so that is something else you can try out. You put castor oil maybe through the night, cleanse your armpits, remove those weird smells, and it also can work on the skin there to lighten it up. I hope you like this video and find it helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.